Welcome back. You're now tuned into the other side of sports. I'm your host, Laws, in the building. It's me, it's Aaron. We rocking out. Uh, Going to get into it all today. I'm trying to reserve. Matter of fact, I'm not even going. Usually, I try to work, go through the soft stuff first, blah blah. But Bama's have been hitting me so heavy about this Kyrie Irving, wanting to get my assessment of the situation, right? And I had to think long and hard because with situations like this, you just can't jump off the handle. How I was feeling and what I wanted to say might have not been the best thing to say, right? So I had to really like process it, think about it, and so we here. I've come to my conclusions around it, y'all. I mean, for those who don't know, Kyrie's been under heavy scrutiny because of the fact that he shared a post on his social media platform that alluded to a documentary that was discussing uh, basically the origins of Hebrews and the Jewish nation. In the documentary, it's alleged that there's information in the documentary. I haven't watched the documentary. Just gotta put that disclaimer out there. That in the documentary that they were alluding to the Holocaust not being a real event, right? Um, the content or the information that Kyrie was sharing was not really to highlight that point, but it was just a part of it. He was asked about it in a press conference. They were, basically kept beating the drum to try to get elicit a certain response from him. He would not acquiesce. That then led to him being suspended by the team, and then just a lot of scrutiny, though. A lot of scrutiny. You heard NBA players come out. You heard LeBron detest um, the 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 post that Kyrie put up. You heard Shaq. You heard anybody who's anybody um, that's been on a team has gone and like spoken out against it. Um, this is where I'm at on it. I think that you do as a person who, excuse me, has a large platform, you do have to be careful of what you share, right? But again, I don't think that what the the crime, so to speak, of what they're saying that he's guilty of doesn't fit the punishment. Um, I don't think that it's clearly evident that Kyrie's intentions was not around, putting forth hate speech or whatever you want to call or anti-Semitism. Um, in the context of that, what they're saying it is, which sometimes can be different things depending on who's making that decision. Um, I don't think he had any malice in sharing the content. I don't think that he was promoting it. I think if it was really something that was so vile and disturbing, Kyrie is not the one to take responsibility for that. Like he didn't create the documentary. He didn't have his hand in it. He didn't have he wasn't like backdoor promoting it to get like a kickback of money or anything. Like I personally think he just watched the documentary. There were some things that he felt resonated with him, and he just wanted to share it. I don't necessarily think he saw any deeper than that. Um, but with that said, you do have a responsibility in all reality, right? The society that we live in, right? The people with power and control, they set the rules, and that's just what it is. And um, unfortunately, just like Brittany Griner stuck in Russia for a crime that people look at and be like, yeah, that like it doesn't match up. Well, in Russia, they have a set of rules, and because they run that situation, they can decide what the punishment of the crime is. In America, there's a set of rules that's governed by people who are in power and in control to be able to dictate what things warrant certain punishments. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality. What I do have a problem with is, especially other black brothers and sisters piling on the situation, right? As if like almost to I don't hear that much talk out of Charles Barkley and them when stuff happens to their own community. So I just it's definitely disheartening at times where they, especially our people, take this very strict line in the sand for other groups that they don't take for their own group and their own people. Um, it's just disheartening. Aaron, you want to say something?
Not a whole lot to add to that. I mean, it's not accidental that they choose the people that they choose to be the face of these networks and these platforms, because they will kowtow and do what their daddies tell them to do in these situations. It's just what it is. It's not an accident that they don't have other guys that you knew wouldn't be going forward or wouldn't be kind of pulled on the leash and told what to say and how to feel and what to do. Um, like you said, the problem I have is in any other community, you don't see when Asians do anti-black stuff, all Asians coming out and having to disavow anti-blackness, or you don't see when Jews, you didn't see a bunch of Jews when Sarver said those niggas need a nigga. You didn't see every Jewish person come out and have to make a statement and disavow those comments. It's just not how it works when it comes to other groups, and part of that I think is also um, showing who's in control and kind of keeping people in line to understand that you're not at a point yet where you have enough power to affect change. You have to beg and kind of plead on other groups to 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 get the same amount of or the same kind of consequences that seem to happen whenever a black person does something that um, is unbecoming of their platform or the praise that they kind of receive. I think another piece of this is people don't like Kyrie, so it's easy for him to be the face of this. When if it was another player, even a player that isn't necessarily popular or liked in the NBA, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. But because Kyrie's a flat earther and he says a lot of dumb stuff, one of these guys who kind of brands themselves as a free thinker when they're basically just a contrarian, um,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't really like those kinds of people. And it's kind of like to prove a point or to show them like you don't know, or you're not as free as you run around here acting to be. I think if it was any other player almost in the league, there may have been like a suspension, an apology, and maybe a fine, but I don't think it would have been as big a deal as it seems to be, because it's Kyrie. He's not that big of an NBA star. I mean, he's a solid player. He's won rings, but this isn't LeBron. This isn't KD. This isn't Steph. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I don't think the magnitude of this situation coincides with the level of player or notoriety that he has across the globe, let alone in the NBA.
Yeah, they said so when they were interviewing him, like at the last practice, they asked him a question. They were like, do you support anti-Semitism? And he was like, again, if you know who you are, I cannot be anti-Semitic. Like, and they asked him again, and it's almost as if they wanted him like to respond a certain way. Like they want him to just, denounce it like flat out, and he
They
wasn't.
wanted a specific response. It's
They
like
wanted a
women do
specific
that to us
response.
all the time. Like we'll answer a question one way and they'll ask it again or a different way, trying to elicit a different response than us answering the question the way that that goes to part of the emasculation and control that they
Mhm.
want to show like you're not as powerful or strong as you
Yeah,
think you
and
are. You're going to answer this the way
we
we
can
want,
bend you.
or
Yeah,
there are going to be consequences.
yeah, I mean, and
And I
granted,
also go ahead.
go ahead.
I also don't like people tying him to Kanye. These are
Mm,
two completely different things. Kanye's anti-black. He's a coon. He's MAGA. I mean, they both fall under the bracket of believing because see, I don't want to believing that they're free thinkers, and because they say things that are contrary to what everybody else says,
mhm,
that elicits some type of IQ, high IQ, or being smart. Like
mhm,
that part I get, but as far as like anything else, they're two completely different people. Like Kyrie has never done, from what I've seen, any coon behavior or trying to throw his people under the bus or pull all of these selfish moves to try to
Mhm.
catapult himself higher and make him look better than
Yeah.
anybody else,
He's
or out
been a
of selfishness.
contrarian, you know,
He's been a contrarian, but he's
but
always been pro-black as far as I've been able to see.
yeah,
I've
nah, I
never seen him
agree.
coon or activate his coonship beyond what any other black person raised up in America, you know what I mean,
Yeah, nah,
kind of
agree,
has done by being ingratiated in European culture.
agree. They issue basically the Nets have put on Kyrie these 6 terms or demands that he has to fulfill before he would be even eligible to like return to the team. I'm guessing. He would have to apologize and condemn the movie, right? 500K donation to the anti-hate causes. I don't know what constitute as anti-hate causes, but
I definitely donated to something against anti-black hate, and that should suffice. 100%.
mhm. Sensitivity training, anti-Semitic training. I mean, honestly, if there's anti-Semitic training, I would like to go and actually see, like what constitutes, because even to say like that, you know, the Jewish community has like a lot of resources or has money, apparently that's anti-Semitic too. But per the definition, it's hard to like kind of ascertain that. Like I it, it's tricky. Like you really don't know. And so a lot of times you see, and I've seen it lately, the people on TV, they're just like, I'm just asking a question because they're trying to frame it in a question as I'm ignorant and don't understand because it's so volatile. And it's like, you know, anything that you say, you step on a landmine, and it's not, the consequences aren't just, you know, oh, I'm sorry, and you apologize. It really, they will strip your livelihood away, like, and that's essentially what is happening. One GM came out and said that this could be the end of Kyrie Irving's career.
It won't be. Um, but you also have to keep in mind, I think they said at one point, it might have been like last year, I don't know if it's the same now, 28 or 29 out of the 30 owners are Jewish.
Mhm.
So they possess the power. The commissioner is Jewish. They possess the power as far as the NBA goes and as far as the narrative goes, how this is going to be spun. So
Mhm.
that's why it's such a sensitive subject. This is something that if it was done in the NFL, you wouldn't have seen that same. You see the social media backlash, but he wouldn't have been suspended indefinitely and have to come up with these terms that aren't enforceable based on the collective bargaining agreement, and everybody just kind of kowtowing. You've seen players like Riley Cooper say, "I'll fight every nigger in here," and not even get suspended at all. You know what I mean? You've seen a
Mhm.
lot of things take place, and it's just based on the demographic of the ownership that the consequences are going to be more severe. You would just wish with a league that's 80% black, when it comes to anti-blackness, consequences would be as severe, seeing as that
Yeah.
they're the power base and they're you without black people, you have no NBA product.
Yeah.
But if
Agreed.
guys aren't going to stick together, then this is something that's going to happen because you need a Charles Barkley. You need the guys who are the speaking heads for the league and the players and everybody associated with it to kind of come together and establish, hey, we're not going to let this guy get lynched like this, and we're not going to pile on. Like, we're
Mhm.
adults. We have our own mind and we have our own agendas, and we're not going to let anybody else decide what our agenda is going to be.
Yeah.
But until people can kind of, and you don't even have to completely unify, but you got to get on the same page as far as what the boundaries are going to be for how you allow people to bully your community or people that are part of your community.
Yeah. Nah, agree. Agree 100%. Last thing before we move on, you know, I do think, like I started out, like Kyrie does have a responsibility, right? Of what he shares and what he puts forth. But to the same token, right? I think that a community that understands oppression to the height that the Jewish community understands it, right?
Allegedly,
Well,
that's my comment, not Harold's. Allegedly,
in my assessment, I'm like, if you understand it to that level, right? Where you were like, this can't ever happen again. And your community, of course, the Jewish community is very protective of that and establishing that, right? I just, I personally, as a black person in America, just don't see the same level of concern or vitriol for issues of oppression that happen to other groups within, you know, where we live, right? You know, again, my community does not have the resources to establish the rules of how things kind of navigate. And if a community does have those resources, you know, and they understand how bad and how sickening oppression is, to the level that, you know, this week I've seen, you know, they had Jewish people on the TV show explaining how this hurt their community to what, you know, the level and degree that it has, right? I'm like, that's exactly how I feel when I watch a George Floyd or a situation that impacts our community. You know, I would I would think that there would be a link between those two to say, you know what, oppression in any form, in any way, we're gonna react the same way to the same level. Um, but again, right? I mean, that's like
But
if I win
if
the if
we
I
gonna
win the
keep it all the way
Powerball, if I
real,
win the Powerball tomorrow, is is everybody gonna get money? Am I gonna just give to the poor and everybody in the community? I mean, maybe not, though. You know, just
if we want to keep it all the way real, a lot of people identify more with the power of white supremacy than they do with the oppression of anti-blackness.
mm,
So like we can out every time something happens, they kind of consolidate and establish themselves as a separate Jewish community apart from whiteness and white supremacy. But a lot of what we see in anti-blackness, people from that community are a part of that. We saw that
mm,
with Sarver. We saw that with the other owner that got kicked out with the Clippers. So like that's your answer right there.
hmm, hmm. Okay. On to some other racial disparaging situations. The Colts have hired Jeff Saturday with no NFL coaching experience, Aaron,
Off a TV screen.
off
No,
a
you got a
TV
chance.
screen.
You got a chance. You should apply for the commander's job, dog.
I should, dog. I should. I'm just trying to figure out what Jeff Saturday has. I saw what's his name, Ursay, defend him by saying he doesn't know anything about football, and because he doesn't know, he's not jaded by the struggles that happen on the football team. I was like, dog, you talk about spin cycle? If I ever heard one, bro. I mean, I just think
He's
it's
a
really
drunk crackhead.
disrespectful. You said what?
He a drunk crackhead. You
Yeah.
can't take anything he says serious.
Dog, you
I
have
can't.
experienced coaches on your team that you could have hired. I'm not even saying that they had to be black, but Jeff Saturday is the farthest from qualified as you
Any
could.
white man will do. Any white man will do. But they did say interim coach, so that's for the rest of this season. I don't think the Rooney Rule applies to interim coaches. Now, if they hire this, if this Batman ends up being the coach going into next year, and this is just his job, then that's going to be a problem.
You didn't have nobody on your staff that you could turn the football over to. I mean, turn the team over to.
You
Gus
talking about a
Bradley,
crackhead, Harold? He's a crackhead.
John Fox. You got Cato June. Remember the linebacker who used to play with the Colts? He on part of their staff. You got Reggie Wayne. I mean, Reggie Wayne only has 1 year experience coaching,
That's more than
but
Jeff Saturday.
it's more than Jeff Saturday. That's a fact.
Crackhead. Just because he a billionaire, you think the Batman's smart?
Nah, he's definitely not smart.
He looked like he was drunk in the press conference.
What
So
kind of what do you think happens to the team with Jeff Saturday at the helm? Nothing, or just is
they
this like
already were
if you on
terrible.
the
It's going to be a
if
clown
you on
show.
the team, like what are you thinking about? I'm like, dog, what?
The thing is, they'll align with each other, but there's got to be some dissension from guys who feel like they were qualified to take over the job, or that they have certain things in place, even though they were sorry and not winning. When you bring somebody completely outside of the organization, or at least outside of the coaching staff, because they claim he
Mm,
was a consultant, but the Bama was working on TV.
mm,
So when you bring somebody from outside and you already have schedules set up, it's just so many logistics that go into coaching beyond the X's and O's, beyond the relationships and knowing. He doesn't even know every guy on the team right now. You halfway through the season and your head coach doesn't even know every guy on the team. It's just it's going to be tough on him. It's going to be tough on the assistant coaches
Dog, you
because they're
just had
basically
so much work to do, dog. Like it's not like it's the off season. You could come in, kind of learn the code, learn. You stepping into a already
They got a
like,
game in a few days, though. So it's tough. It's tough. But on to play devil's advocate, and the other side of that, we talk about this all the time, especially though I say coaches lose more games than they win in all sports. Like coaching is so overrated, in my opinion.
mhm.
Like people just give this genius tag and just this affinity to this head coach position when if especially here, like you see a lot of guys they stand there with their arms crossed. You don't even know what they do a whole lot during the game outside of maybe the logistics during the week. But during the games, it got like when they were asking Ron about his choice to call timeout when he did and all that. He's like, "There's an analytics guy up in the booth. He's telling me when to call timeouts, and based on the chart he has, that's why I called it at that time." Like, what do a lot of these guys do now that analytics is a big part of sports?
Yeah.
So that
I
being
mean,
said, maybe getting a guy that's less involved or less invested in the way that things look from an X's and O's standpoint. So the way we went, maybe that helps, or
mm,
maybe it doesn't hurt. They can't be much worse than what they were.
yeah.
Maybe benching Matt Ryan after paying him was Frank Reich's decision and not ownership, and maybe they weren't in lockstep with the
Mm,
GM who went out and paid Matt Ryan. I'm assuming that the coach is trying to go back and forth with the owner, like, hey, this guy can't play. Maybe it was the same thing with Carson last year,
mm-hmm,
where the head coach wanted him, but the GM didn't. Then the GM gets his quarterback, and the coaches like these kind of things take place behind the scenes. And outside of Washington, a lot of the time those things don't get out, so people assume that a lot of these things only happen on trash organizations. It's just the leaks and things like that that happen here kind of make it look that way. So I'm sure there's some issues going on based on the two
mm-hmm.
quarterbacks that they've had the last 2 years and the results that they've gotten from having those two quarterbacks. And everybody looks at this roster and you assume this should be a really good team fighting for playoff spots and potentially a quarterback away from being a contender for a championship. And to see
Mm-hmm.
what they got out of this team the last 2 years, um, it seems almost like the owner's basically protesting, kind of, sort of, in a way, or maybe the GM won that battle, and we're about to see whose fault it was at this point.
We gonna find out. That's a fact. That's a fact. Before we get into our games today, though, the Washington Wizards are 5-6. They played just about what I expected them to play through the first 11 games. Um, there's some followers we got out there. Denny Avdia,
Let that go.
can I let it go?
No,
Y'all
them.
told me
I'm talking about the fans. They got to let that go. That ship is sailed.
they told me he was real, Aaron. They told me he was a lockdown defender, that he could score. He got better. They sending me clips of him practicing in the gym in the off season. They sending me clips of him in Baghdad and overseas cooking, getting triple doubles and all
Sit
that
back.
stuff. Over here, he can't bust a grape, Aaron.
He misses layups more than I've seen anybody in the NBA miss layups. I'm talking about right under the basket, miss the rim. I'm like, this dude does not belong borderline in the NBA. Like
He
he's
can't
tall,
shoot
he's
for real.
athletic. Like it's no reason for him to be as bad as he is, other than they overhyped him. For this is a marketing ploy, and we talked about this with them trying to establish this international team over drafting basketball guys. And Rui looks like he's starting to figure it out and at least
Mhm.
be productive. Like he needs to be in the starting lineup for one, but like it seems like they're valuing marketing and getting this international team and kind of trying to draw fans based on that versus the basketball aspect, because they force him in the starting lineup, and it's just these are minutes you can clearly see need to be going to other players, other more productive players. He can't lock anybody up. Like that tough defensive player is fake news because he's out here getting cooked every week and guys are targeting him, and you can see guys like snickering when they get Denny switched on him, like, "Oh, you supposed to be a stopper. Watch this." And so
It's
it's
automatic
frustrating
buckets, dog.
watching the fake news that the media, the coaching staff seem to be complicit in, and it's never just about the sport. When you come to the city, it's always so many politics involved and stuff. Like Rui needs to be in the starting lineup. If not Rui, put Kispert. I know he was hurt, but it's
He
other
back.
guys. Now, eventually, they did take him out of the starting lineup and
They
put
did. They
Ari
did.
put Gill in. Um,
Yes.
who's competent. He's not a superstar yet. Ceiling
Mhm.
might not be that high, but he's not going to make any mistakes. He's not going to miss layups in the open court. He can hit open shots.
Mhm.
He seems to be competent, versatile defensively. So it's just the media has to stop with trying to sell this idea that Denny is some
Oh,
great
19
player or
minutes a
defensive
game,
blocker.
4 points. That's what he's averaging, 4 points. Somebody had the nerve to tell me he gonna be averaging double digits. I told them
They told you 16 points.
they was on hard drugs. They with Ursay on hard crack cocaine, dog. They think he gonna get double digits. He's not that good. He can't score on Batman's at the rec down the street from me, let alone on NBA talent.
And it's sad because this is another one of those situations where Denny hasn't done anything. You know what I mean? For us to have
He
these
a good dude.
conversations, right? And you can see him out there
He
sometimes a
try
little bit
hard.
frustrated. He's trying, but it's not who he is, and it's not who he's going to be. They're trying to force this narrative, and it's not working. And it's almost like throwing him under the bus because you're going to hinder what development he might have had if you allowed him to just be who he is as a player, allow the coach to give him the minutes he warrants based on his performance and development versus trying to say, oh, we got us a defensive stuff like they did with was it Patterson, who was supposed to be the Kobe stopper. It's just like you're trying to create this fake narrative of this person that does not exist. He's not a good basketball
They
player right
played Jordan Goodwin last night. He already got averaging more points than Denny, and Denny played the whole year. So I just with less minutes.
now. They have to make a move beyond Denny not being um, the person that they try to sell us him to be. Monte Morris project was a fail.
You
That was a
think
fail.
already?
It's been terrible. They need a point guard. They need a point guard so desperately. You can see when Bill's not out there on go mode or when the team is not just hitting shots, it's so hard for them to get into a good offense or get shots or it looks bad. They just take turns
Yeah,
taking bad shots one on one. It seems like there's no coaching going on at all. And I
yeah,
know part of what would alleviate that would be a point guard who's essentially a coach on the floor, who you can
yeah,
have those coaches like Scott Brooks who just basically roll the ball on the floor and let the players figure it out.
yeah.
But Monte
Morris is
Morris doesn't appear capable of that.
he's playing 28 minutes. He averaging 9 points, 5 assists, and 3.5 rebounds. That's not enough.
That's not good enough.
That's not good enough. You playing 28 minutes. You got to be getting double digit points or at least double digit assists. Even if
Right.
you're
If
not
he was
getting double
getting
digit
9
points,
points and 9 assists, I would
we could
almost
talk.
be able to live with that.
Yeah,
But it's just like I think the numbers are even a bit misleading just based on the amount of minutes he plays and the open shots he gets
yeah. He gets
by
open
just being
shots.
out there. He doesn't make enough shots compared to the shots that he gets. Defensively, he looks like a liability. Like guard, you can see the other point guards or guards are going right at him when he's on defense. He
Mhm.
doesn't get the team in any significant offense, or you can't see him dictating the tempo or just being in control of that offense at all. He's just another player on the field, on the court.
Mm.
And I think they need to make a move. Even if maybe him coming off the bench, it wouldn't be so glaring. But they got to make a move to figure out that point guard position. They swung and missed on him. They swung and missed on Dinwiddie last year. They swung and missed on the Westbrook trade. They got to figure something out. And I would even the guy from Baltimore who comes
Will
off the
Barton.
bench, Will Barton. I would like to see him get a chance to start at the point guard position, or maybe run a 2-2 guard position. But
Mhm.
what they're doing at the point guard position isn't working.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. On to our games. It's a tight race. Just to update everybody, I got 71. D's at 66. Aaron, you at 70. Jeremy at 71. And Marcus is at 72. So it's a tight race. Me and Jeremy tied. You one behind and two behind Marcus. And we one behind Marcus. And D's bringing up the caboose. This week we got the Falcons at the Panthers. Panthers are underdogs at home +3. Falcons have been playing, dog.
Yeah, give me the Falcons. And
Yeah,
another thing that's been good to see to kind of break the mold of often the NFL tends to do the same thing throughout the whole league, just copycat league. It's been good to see Gino and Mariota get a chance to play under different regimes, get another chance to start, and have a coach be confident in them and give them a real opportunity and to
Mhm.
be able to show some success in the league. Like
Yeah,
that's been good to see. And Gino's been even playing beyond that. That Bama been cooking. They're gonna
he
end up
been.
making the playoffs. So
Yeah,
that's been good to see for sure.
nah, for sure, for sure. Uh, Seahawks at Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favorite -2.5.
Out your mind. This is a lot. Seahawks.
I got the Seahawks too. I'm going with Gino all the way until they're Bama
All the
lose.
way.
Vikings at Bills. Bills are favorite -6.5. I'm anticipating that to come down if
That UCL
Josh
injury.
Allen is not playing. Josh Allen apparently has a uh, something wrong with
UCL
his
strain.
elbow, UCL strain, or pull. He's getting
Is that
evaluated.
his throwing arm? That's on? That's my question.
I do not know the answer to that, but the way they're talking about it, potentially.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Vikings to cover. Not necessarily to win, but to cover.
I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Jets.
Yes, just got a surprise W. Just going to the playoffs this year.
For sure. They're gonna lose, but they're gonna go.
Lions at Bears. Bears are favorite -3 against the Lions.
I think that's high. That should be 2.5. Um,
Lions beat the
the
Green
garbage.
Bay Packers.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna go with Chicago another week.
Chicago. They covered last week. I'm going with the Lions. Broncos at Tennessee Titans. Titans are favorite -3.
Give me the Broncos. The Tennessee Titans might have the worst receiving core in the league.
Yeah, they do. They have a. I mean,
It's between them and Chicago, but that receiving, but at least Chicago got Mooney. Like Tennessee Titans are bad without AJ Brown.
yeah, they're bad. You going with the Titans or the Broncos?
I'm going Broncos.
I'm gonna go with the Titans. Get some games back here. All right. Jaguars at Chiefs. Chiefs are favorite -9.5. We're expecting a blowout. I'm gonna go with the Jags.
Mm, I'm gonna go Jags to cover.
All right. Browns at Dolphins. Dolphins are favorite -4.
Browns. When your boy come back? Is it next week? It's what, week 10?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Going Browns.
Yeah, I'm going Browns too. Texans at Giants. Giants are favorite -6.5.
One more time.
Texans at Giants. Giants are favorite at home -6.5.
Texans.
I'm gonna go with the Giants. All right. Saints at Steelers. Steelers are favorite -2.5.
The Steelers a favorite?
Yep.
I'm gonna go Steelers with a bye week.
We'll go with the Steelers as well. Colts at Raiders. Raiders are favored minus 6.5. Go with the Colts. I'm never picking the Raiders ever again, though.
I'm gonna go Raiders because it's gonna be so discombobulated this week.
Cowboys at Packers. Packers are favored minus 5.
Say that again? No way.
Cowboys at Packers. Packers are favored minus 5.
That's not right.
Hold
It
on.
can't be right.
Hold on. Hold on.
There's got to be Cowboys' favorite about it.
It's week 10. All right. I'm about to see. I'm about to double check.
No, that's a glitch in the matrix. We about to go to the sports book right now if that's the case.
No, 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 no.
I'm gonna drop off the podcast and head to Maryland Live ASAP.
Hold on. Let me see here.
50,000 on the Cowboys.
Dog, where's it at?
I'm gonna go to scores and odds. There's no way.
Dallas, I'm sorry. Dallas is favored minus 5.
Whew. Okay. Yeah, give me Cowboys. They're gonna terrorize that Bama Aaron Rodgers this week.
Catch. Cardinals at Rams. Rams are favored minus 3.
Cardinals.
That seems to be the one team the Cardinals can beat. I'm going Cardinals as well.
Does Kingsbury get canned this week if they lose? Or they gonna let them finish out the season?
They're going to let them finish the season. Chargers at 49ers. 49ers are favored minus 7.
Oh yeah, Chargers.
Okay. And then Monday night, the Commanders
Washington.
at the Eagles
Washington.
minus 10.5.
Washington.
I'm going with the Eagles. Chase Young probably might be back this game.
Let that Bama sit the rest of the season.
I wouldn't play. If I was his management, I'd be like, hey, bro, just don't. Don't even waste. Don't even waste your time out there.
Unless they get into the playoffs, come and play in the playoff game. Other than that, don't leave that alone. They're just gonna blame you anyway. Somebody new for Ron to blame.
You already know. Follow us at OSS 980 at Other Side of Sports. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Share the content. And we out.